Ramble.
Thank you to Chime, Peloton, and ShipStation for sponsoring this week's episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of You Can Sit With Us. I'm one of your hosts, Becky, and I'm joined by Matthew.
Hello.
Margaret.
Hi.
We got Rainey on the ones and twos.
Hello.
And today we have a very special guest.
So special.
So special. Our favorite, AJ, Matt's BFF, is here.
Hello.
Because he's going to be your BFF and our BFF, answering some corporate questions for us.
Yeah, corporate bestie over here.
Corporate bestie, we get a ton of questions in our emails about corporate jobs, corporate life. Unfortunately, as a server and a retail worker, I never had those experiences. Our nurse, only Matt is here to answer those questions for us, so we needed a little backup.
Well, it's like changing every single day too. Like, especially pre-COVID, interviewing, trying to get a job, all of the above is so different.
Corporate life is different.
But before we get into the corporate lingo, let's get into the best friend lingo.
Yes.
Why are you friends with him?
That's a great question.
Like, why?
No,
How long have you and Matt known each other?
Yeah, how long?
it's been over 10 years.
And you're still here.
We're still BFFs. It was the end of 2012.
Okay.
And we met through a friend in San Francisco. I was living in San Francisco at the time. And we both didn't really even know this guy. But he was so sweet, introduced both of us to each other via text message because he knew that I wanted to move to LA. And this one is off on his Vespa looking for apartments for me without even having met me.
Wow.
And that's such a good friend, you know?
What an angel.
Yeah. I mean, talk about don't dismiss a chance encounter, you know?
Yeah.
I'd met this person like on the streets of San Francisco.
You were a streetwalker in San Francisco.
Not me.
Our mutual friend.
His friend. Yeah. Yeah, and I thought I was never going to see him again. And then
His
he's
friend.
like,
Your friend, too. Probably more your friend than my friend. We did karaoke one night at a bar.
Him, oh no.
No one's taking ownership over this friend. R.I.P.
But never, dismiss a chance encounter with someone. You never know what's going to happen. Like, I didn't know that guy that well. AJ didn't know that guy that well, but he knew us enough to connect us to become friends. He's like, you guys will get along.
Oh.
You know?
And look at this.
It's crazy.
Look at this
and then ever
beautiful
since.
friendship.
Yeah.
Haven't
Decade later.
even seen him since, I don't think.
Was he even real?
Had
He was
to be.
actually just
Was he a
AI.
ghost?
He was a bot.
Yeah. AJ, what were you doing for work at that time? Because like I said, you're a corporate bestie.
Yeah. I had just left my technically first real job at Nordstrom. I spent like 6-7 years there, but moved down to LA and I started working for Equinox as an area manager. And I was overseeing the retail side of things at a few of the locations here in SoCal.
Okay.
But AJ and I always dress the same. Like,
I mean, today you're both
we're
in
even
blue.
kind of like coordinated, but we'll like show up at places in the same outfits.
Really?
Same outfits, same colors. I mean, we do go shopping together, so we do buy a lot
No,
of
you
the same
do
things.
like really copy me a lot. It's like fine.
Called
It's
out.
fine. It's
You're like,
fine.
Matt's like, you guys go shopping and Matt's like, I'm going to get these pants. Are you also like, I'm also going to get these pants?
Not necessarily. We might like different fits.
Oh.
It feels like you're shaming me right
Not
now.
shaming. Slim straight is nothing to be ashamed about.
He likes more like latex, like painted on type look.
Yeah. What's the Dolly quote? I buy my things 2 sizes too small and then I take it in a little.
Yeah.
Oh.
But AJ, since I've known you, how many jobs have you had?
Oh, gosh. Are we counting the ones that I had for like a week as well?
Yeah.
Count them all.
Anyone who gave you a paycheck.
Oh, my gosh.
Give you some stats. Up your stats.
It might be probably 7-ish in the 10 years I've been in LA, but I was with the last one for 3.5 years. So,
That took up the bulk of them.
yeah. Actually, the last few, it was about 3.5 years.
You're
each.
like the king of rebranding yourself and pivoting
Yeah.
and changing and jumping the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
More than
attracted
anyone I
to the startup life,
Oh, okay.
which is not for everyone. One of the first questions, I've been a hiring manager for the last decade. And one of the questions that I've always been asking in the startup world is, how comfortable are you either with technology or being super agile, because I've learned in my time that people don't like change. And I've made the mistake of bringing people over from previous companies to work for that startup that took them out of their comfort zone, and I never fully realized that, and had to have some tough conversations then.
Yeah.
Oh, to fire someone. How many people have you had to fire?
Yeah, how many people have you had to fire? Do you think about them at night?
They
I
haunt your
don't.
dreams? Do they haunt your
I
dreams?
don't.
Ooh, you don't feel bad about it. Ouch.
Well, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Growth opportunity.
It's the worst. It's the worst conversation to have.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I haven't had to fire many people. I think I've had to fire maybe 5 people in my time. And the rest of them, we've just had that open conversation and have come to an understanding. And I've even helped them get other jobs after that because I felt bad. But
Oh, that's sweet.
have you had to fire anybody?
No, I've never had to fire
No,
anyone.
I've never had anyone work for me.
Yeah.
I've never had
I've never
anyone
been the
work for me.
I've never had anyone work for me. Never had anyone to fire.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe my
Freelance
parents
life.
when I moved out.
Fired your
I
landlords.
fired my landlords.
I'm leaving.
I still let them come back to do housekeeping every once in a while.
Right. Perfect.
So you're a hiring manager at various startups. Is that the 7 jobs?
Yes and no. It's always been in the people management side of things. So I've helped build the brick and mortar divisions for 2 large companies in the tech wellness space. So everything like from scratch.
Yeah.
Like I opened up 22 locations from the very first all the way to the 22nd with my last company.
Oh my God.
And that's building all of the processes and procedures, doing the onboarding, doing the hiring, doing the marketing. So yeah.
A lot of hats.
Yeah, too many.
A lot of
But
hats.
I mean, that's what you do in the startup world. You have to.
Well, and as a hiring manager, I think one of the biggest questions we get in our emails is about interviewing.
Yes.
Done a lot of that.
Lots of interviewing. What do you think is the best way to like prep for an interview? Is it to go in blind? Is it to be researched with a bunch of notes in your phone?
It really depends on who you are as a person. Like if you have a bunch of anxiety, you're probably gonna go and get the job description, go line by line, and figure out what you've done in the past that can relate to this position, just to have in your back pocket. That is one of like the 3 things that I like to do. I come at it from a holistic view, and I personally like to meditate before an interview. I do a power pose for 3 minutes before the conversation.
Love a
Confidence
power
building.
pose.
Confidence
Yeah.
building.
Yeah. And I like to do my digging. I do like to
Stalk.
read the reviews
stalk
on
them.
Glassdoor. I like to stalk on LinkedIn. That sounds bad, right?
Instagram.
I mean,
And at
it's,
the
Facebook,
grocery store.
Twitter.
Hack their Facebook.
yeah,
See what
Really
the
get to know
hiring
who they
manager's
are.
interests are.
exactly. I
Yeah.
did that a couple years ago, and saw that they loved Simon Sinek, Brene Brown, and Adam Grant, and
Okay.
a podcast episode had just come out about that, and I did one of those in-mails on LinkedIn, and I had recommended it, and then I had asked for some feedback from it if he ever got the chance to listen to it. Of course, he didn't reply, but I ended up getting an interview, I think, from that email.
Oh, so being very proactive is primo.
Yes.
Is key.
Go into it
Yeah.
with, confidence. Confidence speaks volumes more than anything.
Fake it till you make it.
Make it.
Yeah.
Make it.
I mean, don't lie,
Yeah.
Stretch.
because
Stretch. Yeah. Is stretching okay?
I'm sure everybody does on their resumes, but I feel like I can sense when somebody's not telling me the truth,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't hire them.
I remember when I was going through the interview process, I would literally think of every single question that they could possibly ask me, and I would write that down and write an answer to.
I think I've over-prepped sometimes, and it's just screwed up the entire.
Sounds like too
You feel like
scripted.
too
Yeah.
robotic.
Yeah, or I don't know. I get in my head about that, so it's this balance of feeling confident in what you've done, and then being able to correlate that with the job description.
What's been your worst interview?
Oh gosh. This was a long time ago. I've definitely grown as a person a lot within the last 5 years, which this was longer than 5 years ago, but it was straight up like a fight.
At a job interview.
I mean,
Like you were hitting people.
no. But
Debating.
I was explaining what I had done to help drive foot traffic, and she just kept coming back at me and was just like, but what did you do? She kept saying that. She literally said that like 3 times. And I said, I ended up pulling out of that application.
Yeah. Didn't seem like a good
completely.
fit if that was the hiring
Yeah.
experience.
And it was through a recruiter too. It was an external recruiter. It wasn't an internal one. And I wrote like a page email after that, just saying what happened, because I don't want that recruiter to not work with me again. But I was like offended,
Yeah.
which was a bummer because I really liked their products.
Yeah.
And then what's the worst interview that you've given that like you've been interviewing someone?
Yeah. Or like, what are some mistakes that you see
Yeah.
people making during their interviews?
I mean, I can like smell when someone is being inauthentic. And it's kind of like watching a downward spiral. They're like trying to think of other examples, but they're really creating it in their head.
But the lies, you're saying the lies.
Yeah. But
Fabricating.
I mean, in the end, there's always going to be talkers that end up getting the position. But they're only going to last for so long
Yeah.
before they actually have to prove
They'll
themselves.
be found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a phrase like talkers? Is that industry standard?
I've been using a lot recently
Industry standard.
It is now.
because
It
there's
is now.
There's a lot of
definitely-
talkers.
Yeah. Have you had talkers?
Well, for my corporate life, like in consulting, the interviews are like you had to do case studies, and then you have like the fit interviews. So like the fit interviews, you could like, it's just people kind of like talking about themselves. But then the case studies are like your actual like skills. So you have to show like how you think through problems. So that's where you would really see people just like fail, and they would like not be able to do mental math or be able to like create a structure to
How
go
dare you
through and do
insult people
stuff.
who can't do mental math? That
Well,
is
it's like part of the job, like a little bit.
wow.
So, I mean, there's definitely, that's where people would really fail, So it's less about, I always tell people to oversell themselves because everyone's overselling themselves,
Yeah.
right? If you think about it. So if you're not, then you're going to be behind the curve to begin with. But you can't oversell yourself so much that you're not going to be able to do it, right? There's a difference between like a stretch and a hurdle.
That's
Right.
true. And have you ever felt like someone's thought you were overqualified for a job because you've
Overstretched.
postured yourself
Power
in this way?
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes just your resume makes you look overqualified
Yeah.
for jobs. Like I would apply to jobs when I first moved to LA, and then they're like, "Well, you're overqualified for this. We're not even going to like consider you." And I was like, "Well, I just need money.
You're like, I just need a job.
Help."
I feel like I've always done the opposite, and I go for jobs that I'm for sure that I can get. So I have been told more than once that I was overqualified, and I say, that sounds awesome. Doesn't it sound like I'd be a really good asset to this AMC movie theater team? I really think I could use my Bachelor of Science in Theater
love movies.
well here.
I love my movies.
I read a statistic once about that aspect specifically between men and women.
Oh, yeah.
Men are way more likely to go after a job that they might not be qualified for than women are.
That sounds accurate.
Sociological study.
That sounds accurate.
I believe it. Do you have any tips for when you're interviewing and how to not come off that you are eager to learn and more so that you're qualified and not like where's that balance?
You're not a try hard.
Yeah. You don't want it to make it sound like, I may not have these skills. Like how do you disguise that and present yourself in a way that you're like, these are my experiences, I can own it. But I'm also acknowledging that this is a new kind of endeavor.
Yeah. I mean, that's almost like switching into like a new field per se. It's like say you've been in sales, but then you want to like go into, I don't know, corporate marketing or something. There's always something that you've done in your past, even if it's like the smallest thing, that you can interpret it into marketing. I had applied for marketing roles before. I've never had a marketing title, but I've had to do those duties before. So say, like on the grounds marketing, like in the startup world, you have zero budget for anything. And so you have to get creative. You have to, build those community partners. And that was my way of then showing them that I've done this. Like I've driven traffic by building community, building partners within the community, and being able to cross promote.
Just finding something in your previous work that's not necessarily in the job title.
Yeah.
We all know the economy's been a little funky, so it's important that when it comes to saving money as a small business owner, every little bit helps. ShipStation gives you access to discounts up to 84% off USPS and UPS rates, and you can manage every order from one simple-to-use dashboard. When you lower your shipping costs and make returns easy, your customers stay happy while you save money. My friend actually has her own earring and jewelry business. She started with a free trial, and it was a quick setup, and she loves the benefit of having discounted rates when shipping out her orders. ShipStation hooks you up with industry-leading discounts so you'll never worry about overpaying for shipping. Over 130,000 companies have grown their e-commerce business with ShipStation. All your shipping handled in a single dashboard. ShipStation effortlessly integrates everywhere you sell online, including Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, and more. Worry less about bottom line when you save money with ShipStation. Go to ShipStation.com and use code SITWITHUS today and sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's ShipStation.com, code SITWITHUS.
Good money habits start with your very first paycheck. And if you just scored your first job, you've got an opportunity to start a healthy financial journey. When you sign up for Chime and link a qualifying direct deposit, you can access the benefits like getting paid up to 2 days early and fee-free overdraft up to $200. And with Chime, there are no monthly fees, no minimum balance, and no deposit required to become a member. So sign up for Chime Checking Account today to link your paycheck. It only takes 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/sitwithus. That's chime.com/sitwithus. Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank, NA or Stride Bank, NA. Members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. See chime.com/spotme.
Well, AJ, we actually have an audience question that comes. It's an in-depth audience question that comes from the depths of our email.
Yes. We get lots of audience questions.
We have lots of audience questions. And this one is from a very anxious girly. So we can all relate.
We were just talking about that earlier, about how society in general is just super anxious after COVID.
Yeah.
Especially.
Anxious world. She asks this, her tone of her question is about what to disclose during an interview. And she asked, do I have to disclose my disability in an interview? For context, I have generalized anxiety disorder and occasionally experience panic attacks, which I did not mention in my interview. She's currently employed at an art center. There was a day where she felt like she was putting out a lot of fires for about 2 hours. Once all of the kids had left, she had a full panic attack where she finally sat down at her desk. Her coworkers and bosses were amazing. Her boss checked in that night via text, but they haven't debriefed in person. She wonders whether disclosing her mental health struggles during her interview would have been a good idea or a bad idea. She never intended to hide this part of her identity, but was just scared that the stigma around mental health would hurt her chances at being hired.
That's a tough one. I would probably share that. It would be short and sweet with someone from the HR department specifically, not necessarily, whoever the hiring manager might be, because they might know how to deal with that much better and not be put in a box somewhere.
Yeah.
I have ADHD myself. It is a struggle during interviews because I will just go around in circles in my head. But I would try to counteract that with I've been struggling with ADHD since I was a kid. And I've learned to deal with it and I've grown a lot from it, even without medication. I'm medicated now, but showing some sort of growth potentially. I don't know.
I think sharing with the HR manager is completely fine because I understand their point of view in disclosing that to the hiring manager and then it going to somebody else, even though you have a good grasp on whatever sort of thing you're dealing with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't share it.
I wouldn't share it
And share it.
I wouldn't
until
share it.
after I was hired, I think. Yeah. I
Because
have.
then once you're hired, they ask you like a bunch of questions, like if you need special accommodations,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So then I might disclose it and be like, this happens to me for this. I need blah, blah, blah space or something.
Yeah.
I guess also it helps against discrimination. I mean, that's
Exactly.
why a lot of people that are pregnant don't tell.
Yeah.
That's why you're not allowed to tell
employers,
like
yeah.
your age, race. There's so many things, especially in California, you're not allowed to ask.
Yeah.
Or you're not supposed to really disclose during the interview process.
There are like ways to still ask that question too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sneaky ways that they try and get
How
that
much do you
information.
share? Yeah. How much do you share about yourself in your interviews?
Well, I think one of the most important parts of an interview is to make yourself memorable. And I don't think I've ever had an interview where I didn't say I was a ginger and that I grew up on a dairy farm.
Own it.
And those are two things that I'm pretty sure together there might not be another ginger who grew up on a dairy farm going after that same position.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like get stuck in their
Is that
head
how you
somehow.
answer the question? Tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a ginger. I grew up on a dairy farm and I won Miss Garlic Gilroy Princess.
Gilroy Garlic pageant.
The Gilroy
Wait,
Garlic
this is get it
pageant
right,
in
Matt. Get it
1992.
right. This is real.
I didn't win it.
Oh, okay.
My best friend and her little sister did though.
Wow.
That is adorable.
Yeah.
We love
Garlic
that.
royalty.
I haven't said the garlic stuff, but I've joked and I've said, I grew up 2 fields across from my best friends, which were my cousins.
So I think to sum up what we want Anxious Girly, I would definitely check out what the laws are in your state for what's, discrimination laws, just to make sure that that's not something that they can not quote unquote hold against you, but maybe something that you should hold off on disclosing during the interview or tell the HR hiring person. But typically someone will ask about your accommodations after you've gotten the job.
Right.
So maybe.
But I mean, she already has a job now.
She already has
So,
a
like,
job.
Yeah.
what should she tell her boss? Right? I think that's kind of the subtext of her question.
Yeah.
Now it's like she's already at this point. She has the job. She had the panic attack. Everyone at work saw her have this panic attack. Like, what does she do now?
Well,
I think that'll just be up to whatever is discussed in the debrief and what
Like, what would you say to your boss?
I would just go over what happened.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your support.
Would you say this is the first time you're like, oh, I've had these for like 10 years?
Yeah. And like what sort of
You
things?
just be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just be honest.
I think most companies too have it in their like handbooks, whether it's a large company or a small company, like reasonable medical accommodations that they have to make for you. So
Even
I think
before
I'd just
applying.
tell them,
If you have to fill out, if you have any sort of disorder or if you need accommodations, there's an email that you can reach out ahead of time. And maybe that's when
yeah.
you mention it. I agree. I probably wouldn't mention it depending on how serious her anxiety is. Like if it's going to have her screw up during the interview, then yeah, maybe.
That's
I
true.
see what you mean.
That's a good tip. Yeah. Well, Anxious Girly, I hope we made you less anxious.
Yeah.
Deep breaths.
I hope we help.
I mean, going back to tell me about yourself. How would I want to hear how Becky, Matt, and Maggie would answer, and then AJ, can you give them notes?
Yeah.
AJ is interviewing us
Just interviewing. Why don't you start with Matt?
on the spot.
Yeah.
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah. Do you want to interview us real quick and
I
let
feel
us
like-
know like who would get
I feel
the
like
job?
I usually am like, I'm originally from upstate New York. Like I went to University of Rochester, like, give a little bit, because a lot of the times you like get the interviews through different threads. So you always want to start with that. So if this is like an alumni from like U of R, you can be like, I went to this school. So then they're like, oh, I went there. So you can like kind of start stuff to make those connections in it. So you kind of have to tailor
Give it to us,
through.
Matt. Don't tell us what you would do.
Becky, it's called stalling, okay?
I hear a lot about what you would say without saying.
So what is the position? That's what I need to know.
Rainey, what's the job?
It's at Second Try LLC
Oh.
for actually a camera op.
Oh,
Camera operator. This is definitely going to be a pivot for me. I don't have a lot of technical knowledge or skill.
Maybe
yet.
we'll do a producer because that's sort of more general liberal artsy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love to produce. I love produce.
oh, he's funny. He's a funny guy.
No, I feel like I'd start like, hi, my name's Matt. I'm originally from upstate New York. I went to University of Rochester. These past blah, blah, blah years, I've been a producer at this and this company. I created this viral web series. It has X amount of views. I was really integral in making our traffic go from blah, blah, blah to blah, blah, blah. I also launched our TikTok, which has driven
Bombastic
traffic, which has driven traffic to our website by 10%. And I really want to discuss this position with you because I think it would be a great fit for both of us and give me great growth opportunities because XYZ.
Wow.
I feel like I would do something like that.
B plus.
B plus.
Yeah.
B
It's
plus.
that's a big opportunity to show them who you are.
Yeah.
90% about getting a job right now is all about who you know.
Yeah.
Like networking is so important and it's who are you going to get along with? So being able to show your personality is going to be to your advantage.
Yeah. Some more
Yeah,
personality.
Make a joke. Don't be
I
inappropriate.
need more
but
personality. I love to produce and I love produce.
You do.
You
do.
didn't
You're gonna
laugh.
remember that.
He didn't laugh. He didn't laugh. Your turn, Maggie.
Okay, what is the position?
Head of the residency at University of Amherst.
At University of Amherst. Very so specific.
Okay.
So you're moving.
I'm moving
For this
is
role.
exciting. Hi, my name is Maggie. I'm originally from California. I went to medical school at Santa Claus University. I'm just making this
Love
up.
that.
I'm very qualified. What else can I say? I'm already crushing. I'm already sucking at this interview.
You got this, Max.
I'm like this. Let's see. I have spent the last decade working at Santa Claus Hospital. I oversaw the nursing and residency department. I think I'm really qualified for this role. I'm eager to move and relocate. This has been something I've been wanting to do for the last 5 years.
Crushing.
One
Did
of
she
my
get the job?
I gotta brush up on
you got to the next round.
Okay. I'll take it.
There wasn't a next round with Matt, but there's going to be.
Ouch. Ouch.
Coming up.
Yeah.
One of my favorite questions to ask during an interview is, "What's your superpower?" Because that can be taken so many different ways, and typically we'll throw them off guard a little bit because that's not a normal question. A little bit more these days, but
Mine is I hear everything.
Oh, that's scary.
You can never hide.
Matt's going to threaten everyone that he interviews with.
Mine's I can be invisible, so I can witness and hear everything, and I can be anywhere.
Copycat.
Sneaky. I'd want to be like the Flash. Not the character, not the person that plays the Flash, but I would like to be like the Flash and be very fast. So that I could
So you
be
get
efficient
10
and get my
times
job done.
more done.
Ooh, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
now think superpower, but like, what are you good at? Not necessarily a superhero. Like your superpower could be bringing people together, or it could be something along those lines.
Schmoozing.
Schmoozing.
Cocktail hour.
Yeah. I would say I'm very good with guest interactions. So I make people feel really comfortable when we're together, bring people together, love to chit chat, you know.
I feel like this is like one of the harder questions. I got a lot of DMs about
Yeah,
it.
what the hell? Tell me about yourself and what's your superpower?
You never know what they're going to ask you in an interview.
Yeah.
You know? You never know.
If I would ask Matt to describe you in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Beautiful, talented, funny. That's what he would say.
That's what you want people to remember from your interview, that you're beautiful.
Yeah? Do you want them to remember that you're not beautiful now? What do you think people think when they see you for the first time?
Well, it's about your
Look at
skills,
this
Becky,
ugly
not about how
boy.
you look. It's about your skills.
No, it's definitely part about how you look. If you showed up to an interview and you have not brushed your hair, you have not brushed your teeth.
They're gonna remember that.
If you have,
Yeah.
if your clothes aren't, as pressed as they should be,
Unfortunately,
appearance does matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You only get
I've had to
one.
send my headshot in with some jobs.
Whoa.
I think it's a sneaky way to be racist, is what I always thought about it.
Yeah. I've seen photos on resumes
Same.
before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Rainey, what was your interview process like for
Here?
a second try? Yeah.
Well, first of all, I was like underemployed / like freelance and stuff for like 2 years. And I did so many interviews. And so I applied to like 200 jobs.
Wow.
And it was horrible and so soul sucking. And I hated every second of it. But here, it was just a vibe check, I think. They were like, what TV are you watching? And I was like, Monk.
Who asked that?
Monk.
Who was it? It was, well, I know the interview was with Nick and Miles,
Okay.
but I can't remember which one of them did. But yeah, they were just sort of like, oh yeah, like what's up mostly. So that was good. I mean, I definitely had some other ones though that were like much more, I think it was confusing because I like interned with like a lot of newsrooms where I was interviewing people like for news. And so I thought it was like interviews, you were sort of on the same team and you both wanted the person to do well because then you got the sound clip and then the person sounded good. And interviewing for a job, I feel like is a much more like sporty, like it's a little bit like more jousting.
Testing.
Yeah. So it's kind of stressful.
What was the hardest question you got when you were being interviewed?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was interviewing for I was interviewing for a public radio station in Kentucky. And
Oh my God.
I
Rainey, I'm
know.
so glad you did not get that job. Jesus.
I know. It was, things were bleak. And I was just like, I will literally take any job. But I remember they asked me, like, they're like, okay, so we report a lot on, like since there's like a lot of, I think, coal mines there. And then there's like this transition to renewable energy. So if you were reporting on a coal mine closure, like what would be your first step? And I was like, okay, well, I would have to like, really, I just like didn't know. But ultimately, I was
I
like,
would have to Google coal mines.
yeah, I was like, I think I would like get like boots on the ground, like try and figure out like some expert to sort of like show me around, kind of. And I could tell like as soon as I answered that. Also, I think I said Appalachian instead of. There's a different way to say it.
You could say Appalachian.
Appalachian, and I could see they were just like kind of disappointed and like sort of just like frustrated with me, and I was just like.
Ouch. Disappointing.
But then I did talk to this guy from NPR West, and he was like, I was like, yeah, I just like really like botched that question. He was like, honestly, I have no idea how I would answer that. That's a really like hard question. And I was like, okay, thanks.
I feel like that's also like
That'd
the
be
first episode of the morning show. Is like she
Yeah.
goes to like a coal mine. That person was just watching TV. They were just pulling from what they were watching
back
on
to
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all comes back to TV. I feel like that'd be a good interview question. I do like, what are you watching
Yeah,
right now?
it
'Cause that
says a
is
lot.
kind of telling.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, AJ, so you've built like these empires of companies, and so you've hired a lot of people. What are you looking for? Like, what do you think is sort of the most underrated, or like, in order to make a successful company, what are you looking for in terms of hiring?
Diversity.
Really?
Every time I had to hire a store manager,
Yeah.
I always looked for something different that we didn't currently have.
Oh, cool.
Because it will bring a completely different perspective. And I love working for a company that believes ideas come from anywhere. Any, like a lateral type of, not even a hierarchy. Like ideas can come from everywhere, and it helps, show that you're listening.
Yeah.
I love that.
Beautiful answer.
I love that. Well, we have a little game for you to play.
That's right.
This is directly inspired by a girlie on TikTok. Her handle is Lo Whaley, which is LOEWHALE, but you might know her better as Laura and her corporate bestie. She does these really hilarious TikToks where she sits with her computer and she asks her corporate bestie, how do I say XYZ in corporate speak? And then he'll tell her how to say it back. And sometimes they play the game reversed.
I feel like Matt would be really good at this.
Yeah.
Well, we'll all play it together.
This is for everyone too. Because I also feel like even in like texting or emails, everyone has such a different like
Voice.
tone.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while I see Keith's phone and I'm like,
Who's that?
You can't write like that.
Keith is
I was
so
like, why
funny.
are you saying it like that?
I am on my way, period.
It's so much punctuation and like
Scary.
no, every once in a while he'll let me like, I'll be like, oh, could you respond to someone? I'll be like, okay. And I'll be like, hi, lol, on our way, exclamation point, smiley face emoji. And he's like, they're definitely going to know that's not me. But it's just so blunt. Everyone's so different. So I'd love to hear everyone's takes on these.
Perfect.
So in corporate speak, or probably the most professional way that you can, Rainey, you're here too, girly. Jump in.
I'm so bad at this stuff. I'm like, LOL.
Perfect. I love it. Lol. How would you say in a corporate way that that's not my job?
That's not my job.
That's not my job.
I would love to help out, but I don't feel comfortable taking on the additional work. And then if it's your boss saying it and you want to grow within the company or whatnot, maybe add on, if you'd like, we can schedule some time to sit down and reprioritize what's already on my plate.
Oh, that's good.
Reprioritize what's on my plate.
Got a lot on your plate, you know.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say, Matthew? That's not my job.
That's not my job.
You
I'm
would
not
say
doing
that's
that.
Matt's fired.
No, I think I would lean into the bandwidth piece, kind of like AJ did with. And I would say, I don't have bandwidth to do this right now, but if you need help, I can reach out to blah, blah, blah.
So if you're playing at home, write down on a piece of paper, we're reprioritizing, we're using our bandwidth. These are all great words
Buzzwords. Yeah.
to take with you.
Buzzword.
Just
Into your emails.
make sure that it's not being like passive aggressive. I've seen a lot of the videos that are out there, and that's just not going to be working towards your advantage.
Yeah.
That's true. No, passive
And don't say
aggressive.
no. You know, don't just right out say no.
Let's problem solve
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We are all a team.
Show that you're trying at least.
Yeah. How do you say in corporate lingo, what the fuck are you talking about?
I would say, can we hop on a quick call to further discuss this in detail?
Or ask for more details
Ask for
somehow.
more details.
To clarify, to summarize, is this blankety blank?
Like I don't understand your thoughts completely. Can you elaborate on what
Yeah.
you're
I'd love to get some more clarity.
Yeah.
Love. Ray, anything for what the fuck are you talking about?
This probably happens a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Looking
probably
for
with you. Probably you
the
get a-
bozos around here.
I don't know.
The dingle dongles emailing you.
Let's see. I'd be like, oh my gosh. Well, usually I'd probably be like, wait, what do you mean? Wait, sorry, what do you want me to do?
Sorry, huh?
And I don't know if this is good, actually, AJ, I'm curious. I think I would just like take full responsibility and be like, oh, sorry, I like am an idiot. Like I have no idea what you're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Which maybe isn't good for my career.
No. I mean you're being honest, just don't say that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say that all the time.
Yeah.
Don't avoid all responsibility.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Say you're
make it
having
a team effort that there was some confusion.
Yeah. Or start with yourself. I'm having a hard time understanding what you're saying. Can you please say it another way?
That's good. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you're writing this down, people.
Yeah, Rainey, write it down.
This is one that I feel like I have a hard time with. How do you say that you're going on vacation and you won't be responding to emails? Or I feel like also in the same vein as like I work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. These are my working hours. I will not be responding to you after these working hours.
Yeah. I think leading up to it, I would, anyone who I'm involved with whatever projects I'm working on, I would send them a calendar invite first and foremost. And even before that, I would have a cutoff date for whatever task that they want to discuss beforehand.
So you're talking about all about the prep.
Yeah.
Utilizing the iCal.
And then letting them know, like, this is the last day, and then to reach out to Betsy for any immediate needs, and I'll be back on the 15th.
I love that.
That's great.
Put it in
Did
your
you, in
out
your
of office.
like beginning of your career, did you struggle with taking vacation? Like, did you were like more
I
worried about?
never took vacation.
Oh my God, we had a joint birthday party plan and this bitch didn't show up.
Yeah. I
Air quotes for those who are listening.
yeah.
I guess it's hard too when you're jumping from role to role, when you're like trying to get your feet kind of rooted into the ground and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
now it's time. Now I can take vacation. Has that been hard? Have you
Yeah,
gotten better
especially
at
in
it?
the startup world too, because you're wearing so many hats and you can't necessarily teach everybody else what to do while you're gone. But I felt so bad doing that, Matt. I had friends fly in.
Don't worry, he's not thinking about it. It's not in his head anymore.
Oh, no.
Matt
brings
never
it up
forget.
Forgotten.
No, two of my friends flew into town.
Oh.
And they had never met. And then Brandon goes, picks them up, and they had the birthday party without me.
Yeah.
Oh my
We
God.
had a great birthday weekend.
Yeah. But
memories.
where was I? I was with Peloton at that time. And the store opening, the first West Coast store opening, was happening that same weekend.
Wow.
And I did tell HQ that I had a birthday trip coming up, but
HQ did not care.
The request was not validated.
it showed them that I was truly interested in this role and I wanted to grow within that company. And so I scored some major brownie points by doing that. But looking back, I like slightly do regret that because time is the one thing that we never get back.
Then also it's a bad precedent because then I'm like, okay, he'll do this, so we can just count on
Yeah.
him to do all this other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, instead of spreading the responsibility around a bunch of people, it's kind of you don't want one person to feel like the whole business is going to fail. If the one person isn't there, or that person shouldn't feel like that.
Well, that actually leads us into our next corporate speak, which is my coworker is slacking and I'm done picking up the extra work.
T.
How do you say it?
Yeah, how do you say AJ?
I'm big on calendar invites and setting deadlines. So I am a very direct person, so this isn't going to be for everyone, but I would say I understand this is your responsibility. I would love to get an ETA on when this is going to be complete and add it to our shared calendar.
Putting a deadline on them
Calendarize.
instead of being like, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, thankfully there are a lot of tools out there where you can literally assign someone a task, like on Asana or something, and put a due date on there. And through Slack, through emails, through Asana, like you're covering your own bases by doing that. If it's a continuous thing, that's a bigger conversation you need to have.
That's a bigger combo leading up to I quit.
Been there, done that.
How do you quit? What are the ways that you guys have quit jobs?
Via email.
Email, love that one.
Post-it.
What?
Post-it note. Email.
Post-it note.
Post
kidding, I'm
it.
kidding.
You like leave it on your manager's desk. I quit.
I quit.
Heart Matt.
I mean, when I left my last job, it was like I just call,
Yeah.
phone call. And then they're always like, oh, we wish you the best, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
But they don't.
Yeah.
They're mad.
No, they have to backfill.
Yeah. But
Train
they're
somebody
like
all over again.
Hiding it.
Oh, yeah.
But I never had anything super dramatic.
Yeah, I don't think I've had anything dramatic. I moved departments within the same medical system and I went to my manager's office. I gave her a big hug. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm still going to see you though, so don't worry. I like
See you never.
to make it, I like to fluff it up. I'm like, don't worry. We'll still see each other.
I've had people quit on me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
what
guess
have they
some of the
done?
dramatic ones
Yeah,
would
what are the
be,
dramatic ones?
like they went on their lunch break and never came back.
No way.
And they never said anything. They just got on a girl.
Dead.
Actually, the time that happened, it was my friend's boyfriend who I hired.
So you're going to see him again.
Oh, he's out of the picture now.
He's an ex.
AJ's like, I made sure he was out of the picture. after that.
That was actually always my dream way of quitting my serving job was that I would
Throw
be like,
water in your boss's face and
no,
run.
no. I would go in like it was a totally normal day. I would wait until the restaurant was totally full and my section was totally full. I would take all the orders and all the drink orders and I'd walk out the door and not put any of them in. Never did it. But that was always my server. Like, this would be the best revenge is that 30 minutes are going to go by and there's no way.
You know what you really should do?
to recoup.
Is you should put the wrong orders in for each table and then leave.
No, I want nothing made.
Nothing.
I want it
Yeah.
to be unfixable.
Food waste.
Well,
That they have
wrong
to
order
make
is
it.
Someone has to come back and retake all the orders.
I
A
just go boop, boop,
nightmare.
boop, boop.
10 hot dogs for the table,
Just tap, 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 tap. Say goodbye to boring workouts. We actually canceled our gym membership and started working out at home, but it was really hard to stay motivated just finding like random YouTube videos. So that's actually why I first joined Peloton. The workouts are super fun. They have Lane Break, which is a gamified workout experience where you can pedal to the beat with music inspiration. And they also have Lol Cody, a cycling class with a late night talk show twist. There is something for everyone. You could go on walks, hikes. I personally like to do like a nice soft row, pretend that I'm, kayaking somewhere. And you get to learn from the best. Peloton's expert instructors take the guesswork out of your routine and truly motivate you. Try Peloton Tread, Row, or Bikes risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only, not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial. That's onepeloton.com/home-trial.
So crazy. I did get fired once. But
Fired or let go?
I was already halfway out the door anyway.
The story
you know
changes.
what I mean?
Wait,
Like-
what's the difference between fired and let go? Is let go like, oh, we have to, we don't have money? Yeah.
Either that,
Let it go.
and you can
let
actually
it
collect
go.
unemployment off of being let go. If you're fired, like your performance is bad.
Yeah, it was probably that.
You did a no.
Well, I was working at the Annenberg Foundation as like a grants assistant person, and I hated the job. It was like the most boring thing in the whole world. And so I had already been applying to jobs, and I already had my next job secured. But I was waiting a couple of weeks to give my notice before my next job started. But then they like brought me in on a Friday to the HR office, and they're like, basically like, you're fired. Like, we can tell this is not a good fit. And I was like, well, I already have a new job. Bye.
You're like, see you.
And they like, but they like literally escort you out.
No way. Wow.
They
Yeah, like you're not
escort you
allowed to
out?
like go into your computer or do anything. They're like afraid you're gonna like,
Do you collect your, they
Sabotage
like
or
watch you collect your
something.
things and stuff?
yeah, you can grab your coat and go. And like a security person like goes with you.
Gosh.
That's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had a dream of being super dramatic because I had a boss that was not the nicest person. And a dream of bringing my letter of resignation on a silver platter and presenting it to him.
Silver platter. Ooh.
Yeah, because comments were made along those lines that were just super inappropriate.
Oh, yeah.
Like them
Yeah.
wanting.
How have you had
everything
to
on a silver
deal with a
platter.
bad manager? I feel like that's a bigger.
It's the worst. It's the hardest.
It's the worst. It's the hardest.
It's the
So you just
hardest.
like
That's it.
didn't
Well,
deal.
You know,
Yeah.
if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude about it.
So you left.
Yeah.
Like bye.
Yeah. I've done that a few times.
Oh, you just
actually.
you quit. When
Well,
you were
because of bad
manager.
management.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it is sort of
people-
like, what do you do?
People don't quit companies, they quit managers.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Who
interesting.
shouldn't be, managing people.
Yeah. I rage quit with a manager once. And then the next time I came back for my shift, they were like, we really don't want you to leave. Are you sure you want to quit? And I was like, well, give me a couple days to think about it. And then I came back and was like, no, I definitely want to quit. I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice. But I was already scheduled for vacation the next week. So I actually only had like 3 more shifts to work. So,
Rage
and it
quit.
was about the manager. Yeah. It was just like lack of management and like unsafe work environment. And I was just like, this is not where I want to work. This is not enough. You couldn't pay me enough money to stay here. And I think I did say that to them at one point. I was like, there's not enough money in the world that I would keep doing this.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Not happening.
Adios.
Don't burn bridges.
Yeah, maybe don't do that if you ever want to work. I will say I never worked in a hotel again.
This was over 10 years ago, but I was working at a luxury clothing company, and I had a horrible manager that I ended up quitting via email. I CC'd her boss on that email,
Good.
Power move.
letting them know I'm quitting because I think I called them like little schoolgirls on a blacktop, fighting and bickering and being catty and something along those lines. It was not very professional of me, but like I said, I've grown up a lot since then.
You've learned.
Yes.
Evolved.
But I was applying to a role not too long ago, and that manager was not the hiring manager, but definitely part of the same department.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So
So you
I
didn't get that job.
took my application out.
Oh, once you
And
knew
you were like,
she was
no.
there. Once you knew they were there.
Yep.
You're like, I'm not working with this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Well, then I went to go read the Glassdoor reviews, and I'm like, this is exactly what was happening over a decade ago.
Oh yeah. If for anyone who's not familiar, who's like younger and getting into the workforce, for almost any job you work at, it could be a restaurant job, it could be a retail job, a corporate job, go to Glassdoor. It's a website,
Glassdoor.com.
and it's where old employees can leave anonymous reviews, and they can't be taken down by the company. That's where you get the true chisme. That's where you get the true chisme.
Current companies do. If you're a current employee,
Oh, you can put it on current employees
I
too?
wouldn't recommend it because I don't know what they see on the back end fully. But I've definitely written a scathing review at a company that I was currently at,
Whoa.
hoping that it would
incite change. Yeah.
Yeah.
knowing that I wasn't going to be there much longer and hoping that they would get it together.
Whoa.
And did they?
I wasn't the only one either. A lot of people were.
Uh-oh.
A lot of toxic
Yeah.
environments these days.
I also feel like the group mentality, like especially if like one person quits in a department, it's usually the domino effect of other people being like, oh yeah, I can be treated better. I can go to a company that'll, respect or value my time more.
Yeah.
Or if one person's having an issue, that can spread.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad, depending on what the issue is.
Whoa.
Drama. Drama.
Well, we have another audience question. It's so wonderful to hear all of your stories on the pod. I was a Peace Corps volunteer, and we all listened to the Try Guys throughout our service. Even on the darkest days, it made us laugh. I would save up my money to buy data every month just to watch one or two videos.
That
about
is
sacrifice.
so sweet.
Second, I want to ask your advice. You are all professionally successful. I'm going into my first real job. I can't say with what agency, but it's a corporate type of position. That makes me kind of feel like it's like maybe government, if she's saying agency.
Could be ads.
I'm so nervous because 1, I'm new. 2, I look incredibly young. Ditto.
Same.
Lucky.
I'm 23. Same.
Same.
And constantly mistaken for 18.
Same.
Same.
Same. Everyone in this room. True.
And that has led to me losing out on promotions because I don't have the right look. I know I have to earn respect at this new job, but any tips on how to enter into your first real job would be amazing. Whoa. So basically she looks young and feels mistaken for young. So people think of her as too young to get promoted. Especially probably if it is the government, it's probably
Tough one.
Yeah.
the workforce there is a little older too.
Yeah.
So there's probably a pretty big gap in their age groups to begin with.
How to get respect from boomers.
Basically, that's what the question is, Becky.
You wait for them to die.
Basically.
I mean, similar to like the interview process we were talking about earlier about relating to the interviewer by doing your research prior. It's like trying to figure out what that common ground is with the key people in that company. I remember being at one of the startups and trying to get on the CFO's good side, but it was such a different environment for him because he was super used to the normal corporate ladder, whereas in a startup, it's way more comfortable. It's, anybody can talk to anybody at any time. Everyone's door is always open. And I remember I saw the car that he was driving, and I'm obsessed with cars. So that was my way into it because I knew he had previously worked for a car company as well. But it's all those like little things that add up to such a bigger picture. That situation is super unfortunate too. Like if that continues to happen, like set a timeline for yourself and say, if this continues to happen, I'm gonna start looking elsewhere at this point.
A deadline. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say for me is when you get promoted, you really only have to impress like a certain number of people, right? Too. So it's not like you need to relate to everyone in the whole company or in the department. It's you really need to get in with those key people, and they're the people who will help kind of like shepherd your career, especially if it is very like hierarchical. So I would really just target. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Really target them and probably think more of what they're into because they're not going to come down and talk to like you about TikTok.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
you're going to have to go back on Facebook and like see what they're looking at.
what they're interested in, what they're watching. Because right now it's just so obvious. And they're like, wow, they have nothing else to talk about with you. And they're going to ask you how old you are. Well, I guess that's not an appropriate question, but assume that you're so young. And
And I mean, your work normally talks for itself. So if you do really good work and your work doesn't look like you're 18, your work looks like you're like what a 30-year-old would do in your job position, then, you know, that's going to speak more than how you look.
And also making a point to show your work and like, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
And trying to like plant the seeds in the key people's minds.
Yeah.
Just because you did Peace Corps, I mean, Peace Corps is a real job.
That is a real job for sure.
There's a lot of hardship you have to go through to do that.
Yeah.
So there's lots of experiences you could relate to your current position and be like, well, at Peace Corps I did blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know?
I also like
Build that
asking
confidence with people.
Yeah, asking people, what makes you say that? Like, I feel like a lot of people
They'll check themselves.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially like when they're dropping stuff off at our house, will ask me if I'm renting. And I said, oh, what makes you say that?
What do they say? Do they just stumble?
Yeah, they get embarrassed because they're like, you don't look like you either are old enough or, I don't know, probably because I go to the door dressed like, you know, in my pajamas. Probably has to do with that. But
you're not dressed like a
homeowner.
So are your parents?
Yeah. Or if like someone says, even if someone says something passive aggressive, I just like saying, oh, what makes you say that?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
What makes you say that?
Beautiful.
Guys, did you know I wanted to be in the Peace Corps when I was younger? I was in high school and I was like, I'm going to go into the Peace Corps. This is going to be so fun. Let's do it. And the Peace Corps came to my high school, and this is for our Peace Corps friend. And they did a sort of like mock what your everyday would be like. And then they did, it all sounded good. I was into it. I was like, yes, I'm in. And then we got to the food portion of what your food would look like every day. And that's when I was like, I'm not selfless enough. I was like, I can't do it. We had to eat this. It was almost like, it was like a corn. It wasn't tamales. It was similar to a consistency of grits, but like a little thicker. But it was like literally just like 2 ingredients. And they were like, this would be like a normal dish that you would have for like lunch or something. And like, I was like, I can't do it. I'm not selfless enough. And that's when I learned about myself.
Well,
from that day.
Well, Peace Corps is different now too. Like before, when you were applying, you would just apply and they would like put you into a country. Like you could literally end up anywhere in the world, where now you apply to a country.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you can like really choose your own destiny a little more.
See, maybe I would have done that.
Yeah.
Last question, AJ, what was your first job? And what were some whimsical little stories?
Do you have any pictures?
Does the farmer?
Yeah. Farming is a job.
Yeah, I used to have to, it wasn't every day, but I
Slacker.
did have to wake up before school and feed the cows. I mean, we had like over 100 cows.
Wow.
All those heifers.
Dozen chickens. There was a time where my dad caught 2 wild boar, and they ended up having 6 boarlets.
What?
Oh
Is that
my
what they're
God.
called? Boarlets?
You can call them that, but
Wow.
yeah.
Did your families sell like the cow meat / milk for corporations, or were they more
The
like
milk
direct?
was back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we just raise cattle.
Yeah.
And I mean, my dad had a full-time job his entire life, but
Yeah.
did that on top of everything
Dang.
with my grandparents.
That's a lot.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
What-
I mean,
where
that's
were
why
you?
you have kids. Right?
What state were you in?
California.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
They say California cows have the best.
They're the best. They're the
dairy.
happiest.
They're happiest. Yeah.
happiest.
There's a commercial.
It's
Yep.
true there
There's a
is.
commercial for the cows.
Good marketing.
Yeah.
What was your first corporate job or more corporate job?
Actually, like Equinox was probably the first corporate.
It wasn't Hollister.
That was my first job. That was my first retail
Hollister
job.
boy.
A Hollister baby.
Hollister model.
Were you in the
Yeah.
front?
I worked
Hollister
there for a
model.
year and a half.
Wow.
Like that's a long time. People worked there for like 3 months before moving on, and I somehow got sucked in there for a year and a half.
You just loved the
Discount.
the triple,
You love that fierce.
the triple collar.
Oh gosh.
Flip.
Popped.
Pop.
It was
That's
double.
Well, nobody would do triple, Matt. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Oh, only quadruple. That's what we into.
What was your first job?
Mucking stalls.
Oh.
Mucking?
Mucking.
Yeah.
Is that a horse thing?
Yeah.
I should
like
probably
cleaning
know
out
that.
stalls. Yeah. I did it like for our neighbors and stuff.
What was your first job, Max?
I worked at my pediatrician's office. I did paperwork and organized their.
Office
they had
girl.
like
Lady.
they had like written charts, and they were merging into computer charting, and I was helping them with that and organizing everything.
We love to see
Digitizing.
Yeah.
Digitizing.
Yeah. And I would read storybooks in the waiting room. I did it all.
That's cute.
I did it all.
Cute.
Yeah.
I was a dishwasher's assistant
Wow.
Wow.
at a country club.
Who knew dishwashers needed assistance?
They did. I would say there was a bit of a language barrier for us, but we got along well.
An assistant.
Love it first.
Yeah. We got along well. It was a great summer. We had fun. We made our own fun back there. The dishes.
Had to.
It sounds
I
a
hate
little
the
dirty,
smell of
Becky.
wet dishes
Sounds
now,
dirty.
though. I
Yeah.
can't smell wet dishes.
Okay, especially at restaurants, it's just so dirty.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today, AJ, giving us all of your wisdom and knowledge. And where can everyone find you online? Search and Rescue. Where do they find you?
Like your Instagram.
What do you want to plug?
I like that you looked at me first.
LinkedIn,
What should I say?
What is my
YouTube,
handle?
OnlyFans.
No,
what's your-
no. I'm not even on the TikToks. Instagram, AJ Escobar 728.
728.
And we'll tag him in our stories
Yes.
of this adorable encounter.
Yes. Well, thank you for gracing us with our with your presence. With our presence. You're welcome.
Matt is not getting the job. Matt is 100% not getting the gig.
I'm boosting the confidence. Yeah, I'm too confident now. We boosted too much confidence today. Yes. But send in more questions, any more career questions. I'm sure we'll do another take sometime soon. But in the meantime, make sure to wash your hands, get vaccinated, be nice to people, tip your servers, pee after sex, and hit subscribe.
Whoop.
Bye.
Bye.